Welcome to Making a Murderer, the Rubberducky YouTube channel. I want to thank you all for joining us back. We're starting our second week here on the RD Making a Murderer daily MaM reading. And for those of you that have been following along, we're going to be doing the CASO Investigative Reports, and you can find that document at the RD Steven Avery Library. And our website there is just in your browser, and that is rubberduckystevenaveryfiles.com. And with that, you guys, it's time to dig in and get started. So this is the CASO Investigative Reports, 51 through 60 pages, Part 6. Page 51. Pierce went on to indicate that Teresa began working with Auto Trader during the summer of 2004. Tom indicated that he was unsure as to whether Teresa possessed a gazetteer, but stated that she knew a lot of shortcuts and back roads. He states Teresa also keeps very current maps of the area in her vehicle because of the amount of travel she does for Auto Trader in addition to the travel she does for photographing weddings. I did notice that Tom Pierce from time to time would speak about Teresa in the past tense. Tom Pierce indicated that Teresa appeared to be doing okay with her photography business, given the amount of experience she has in the photography business. Tom was asked about places that Teresa mentioned that she would like to go to. He stated he could not think of any other than perhaps going to Milwaukee or Chicago. He did state, however, that she would let Thomas know before she went on any trips like this. Tom Pierce indicated that he doesn't know Teresa to carry large amounts of cash. The interview with Pierce terminated at approximately 1650 hours. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 52. Type of activity, contact with Green Bay Police Department, date of activity 11:04:05. Reporting officer, investigator John Dietering. Documents generated, none. On Friday, 11:04:05, I did make contact with the Green Bay Police Department and asked them to check in-house records for the number 4351367. They advised us that at this point, or at one point, a subject named Patrick Hermes was shown in their in-house computer as having that particular phone number. The address listed for Mr. Hermes was 535 11th Avenue in Green Bay, Wisconsin. At 1741 hours, Investigator Weger and I did attempt to make contact with Mr. Hermes at that address. There was no answer to our repeated knocks and did not appear as though anyone was home at the residence. There was a building permit placed in one of the windows indicating that the owner of the building was someone named Stacy Sterling. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 53. Type of activity, telephone contact with Singular Wireless. Date of activity 11:04:05. Reporting officer, investigator John Dietering. Documents generated, copy of facsimile transmittal. On Friday 11:04:05 at 19:05 hours, I, Dietering, did speak with a representative of Singular Wireless Legal Department. The representative advised me that they had received a facsimile transmittal for the Global Positioning System coordinates, as well as a digital number recorder request on Teresa Halbach's phone. The representative indicated that the court order that they did receive did not cover any historical data as far as calls placed from Teresa Halbach's cellular phone or calls received by Teresa Halbach's cellular phone. She stated that we could obtain subscriber information with a subpoena, and that the court order would be required to get information regarding cellular towers that the calls were completed to. She did indicate that we could get the information by declaring this an exigent circumstance, and she indicated that in the event, a court order would need to be forwarded to Singular Wireless within the next 48 business hours. I did advise the representative that I considered this to be exigent circumstances and did fax out the required documentation declaring this to be exigent circumstances. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 54. Type of activity, contact with SBC Security. Date of activity 11:04:05. Reporting officer, investigator John Dietering. Documents generated, none. Friday, 11:04:05 at 19:25 hours, I, Dietering, did make contact with SBC Security regarding the 920-435-1367 phone number. I was advised that once again there was no subscriber information shown for this phone number and that in fact the phone number had been disconnected for some time. The representative I spoke with did indicate once again that the last known address for this number was 215 South Quincy, number 3, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The representative indicated that this could possibly be a ported number and further indicated that anyone can reflect any phone number they choose to as the originating phone number for a facsimile transmittal. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 55. Type of activity. Delivery of compact laptop computer to Grand Chute Police Department. Date of activity 11:05:05. Reporting officer, investigator John Dietering. Documents generated none. On Saturday 11:05:05 at 0800 hours, I, Dietering, did deliver a compact laptop computer, serial number CN32253850, to Detective Michael Valet, Grand Chute Police Department. The purpose of this transfer of this computer was to have Valet download the computer and make a mirror image so that he could analyze forensically what was on the laptop computer. The computer had been taken on Friday 11:04:05 by Investigator Wiegert, and Investigator Wiegert had given the laptop to me in the evening hours of Friday 11:04:05 for me to transport to Grand Chute Police Department. The computer remained in my care and custody from the time it was turned over to me by Investigator Wiegert until I turned it over to Detective Velli. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. 56. Type of activity. Transmittal of facsimile from Teresa Halbach's home fax machine to Calumet Sheriff's Department. Date of activity 11:05:05. Reporting officer, investigator John Dietering. Documents generated. Test facsimile transmittal. On Saturday 11:05:05 at 08:30 hours, Sheriff Jerry Pogel and I, Dietering, did arrive at Teresa Halbach's residence. We did send a facsimile from Teresa Halbach's fax machine to the Calumet Sheriff's Department in order to attempt to determine whether Teresa had programmed her fax machine to reflect the phone number 435-1367 on her fax machine. We did fax a test to the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, and the telephone number shown on the form portion of the fax reflected the phone number 920-435-1367. This is the same number that was reflected on the facsimile sent to AutoTrader on 10/31/05 in the early morning hours. This reflects that Teresa Halbach's fax machine is in fact programmed to reflect the 920-435-1367 number, and that she, in fact, did send the fax to AutoTrader on 10/31/05, probably from her residence. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 57. Type of activity. Telephone contact with David J. Beach. Date of activity 11:05:05. Reporting officer, investigator John Dietering. Documents generated none. On 11:05:05 at 10:25 hours, I, Dietering, did return a phone call to the following individual, David J. Beach. I had been left a message to contact Mr. Beach at the earliest convenience on 11:04:05. Beach advised me that he is the cousin of Teresa Halbach, and he came up yesterday in order to attempt to locate her. He stated the only information that he had was that she was going to be working in the Mishcot and the Two Rivers area. Beach indicated that on 11:04:05 he stopped at Avery's Auto Salvage and Towing and spoke with Steven in person. He advised Steven that Beach's cousin was the missing individual. Steven indicated to Beach that he remembered seeing a RAV4, and when David asked him what time the RAV4 was at Avery's Auto Salvage, Avery indicated that it was mid-afternoon, approximately 2 p.m. or so. According to David, Steven Avery indicated that he had shown the photographer a couple of vehicles and that she took some photos. Steven Avery indicated to Beach that Avery did not know her next stop. Beach told me that he was advised by Avery that when the RAV4 pulled out of the driveway, it went to the left from the Avery property. David Beach indicated that he went to a second towing company in Maribel, Wisconsin, and the proprietor at the towing company indicated that they had not seen Teresa. Beach described Steven Avery as being calm and concerned. He stated that he answered all of Beach's questions and did not appear to be holding anything back. Beach described Avery as being very forthright. Investigation continues. John Dietering, investigator, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 58. Type of activity, phone call from Pamela Sturm. Date of activity 11:05:05. Reporting officer Sheriff Jerry Pogel. On Saturday, 11:05:05, I, Sheriff Pogel, met with Investigator Weger and Dietering at the Sheriff's Department. I had received information that several of Teresa's friends and family were planning on searching of the Mishicot area. I informed Investigator Weger and Dietering that we should speak with Steven Avery to ascertain if he would allow us to search the salvage yard, and we could utilize friends and family to expedite the search. We were about to leave the Sheriff's Department to travel to Avery's Auto Salvage when Dispatcher Marie Osterhaus summoned me into the dispatch center. Marie was on the phone with a female later identified as Pamela Sturm. Marie handed me the phone. I spoke with Pamela and she indicated she is a friend of Teresa Hawbox. Pamela stated she and her daughter, Nicole Sturm, were at Avery's Auto Salvage and had found a RAV4 vehicle in the salvage yard, which Pamela stated was covered with branches and stuff. I suggested to Pamela that she attempt to locate the VIN for the vehicle, and the location for the VIN was given to Pamela. I then handed the phone to Investigator Weger, and he continued speaking with Pamela, and she was able to provide a partial VIN, which had similarities to the VIN for Teresa Hawbox's vehicle. Investigator Weger informed Pamela she should not touch the vehicle, and we would be en route to the salvage yard, and authorities from Manitowoc County would also be dispatched to the salvage yard. Investigator Weger and Dietering and I then left the Sheriff's Department and responded to Avery's Auto Salvage. We arrived at approximately 11:10 a.m. and were met by Detective Dave Remaker and Lieutenant Todd Herman of Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. Dave Remaker informed us he had confirmed the VIN on the vehicle in Avery's Auto Salvage Yard as belonging to Teresa Hawbox. Also on the scene was an individual identified as Earl Avery, as well as the two individuals who notified our department of the discovery, they being Pamela and Nicole Sturm. Pamela informed us she had obtained verbal permission from Earl Avery to go on to the salvage yard, and it was at that time she located the RAV4 vehicle. Investigator Dietering was requested to interview Pamela and Nicole Sturm and obtained written statements from them. Page 59. Shortly after our arrival, Deputy Inspector Greg Shetter of the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department also arrived on scene. Shetter informed me that the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department is currently involved in a $36 million lawsuit with Steven Avery. To prevent a conflict of interest, Shetter asked me if our agency would consent to being the lead investigative agency concerning the search for Teresa Hawbox following the discovery of her vehicle on the Avery property. I informed Shetter I understood his concern, and I indicated I would agree to our agency being the lead investigative agency concerning this matter. I then placed a cellular phone call to Jim Warren, Administrator for the State of Wisconsin Division of Criminal Investigation, DCI. I explained the situation to Mr. Warren and requested the assistance of DCI. Mr. Warren informed me he would have DCI agents respond to our location. He also indicated he would contact the Wisconsin State Crime Lab and request their mobile unit also respond to our location. DCI Special Agent James Fassbender arrived on scene, as well as other state agents from DCI. Because Investigator Weger was the initial investigator assigned to this complaint, I named him and Special Agent Fassbender as the lead investigators for this investigation. Sheriff Jerry Pagel, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Page 60. Type of activity, follow-up discovery of Teresa Hawbox's vehicle. Phone interview of Pamela A. Sturm. Date of activity 11:05:05 at approximately 12:20 10:29 a.m. Reporting Officer Investigator Mark Weger. On 11:05:05 at 10:29 a.m., I, Investigator Mark Weger of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, as well as Sheriff Pogel at the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, was called into the Calumet County Dispatch Center. Upon arrival in the dispatch center, I noted Sheriff Pogel had taken a phone call from a lady who was later identified as Pamela A. Sturm. Pamela had indicated to Sheriff Pogel that Teresa Halbach's vehicle had possibly been located at the Avery Auto Salvage Yard near Mishcot. Sheriff Pogel handed me the phone, and I spoke briefly with Pamela. The following is a Calumet County Sheriff's Department dispatch telephone recording of the phone call. Dispatch. Caller, okay, I called to Mr. Pagel's answering services on. Dispatch, okay. Caller, okay, we are at Avery Salvage. Dispatch, okay. Caller, okay, we are searching for the vehicle. Dispatch, right. Caller, for Teresa Halbach, we found a RAV4. What color specifically was her RAV4? And do you have the VIN number? Dispatch, it's a cliffhanger. Okay, till tomorrow we'll find out what dispatch says. But let's do a little real quick review here of what we have learned. So I'm back up to page 51, and I thought it was interesting when Thomas Pierce was being interviewed. And he talks about all this travel she does for Auto Trader, and he obviously knows she travels for weddings. But then, everything we've ever heard about the victim is that she loved to travel and she wanted to travel the world, right? He's worked with her for years, yet this is what he states right here. Says Thomas was asked about places that Teresa mentioned that she would like to go. He stated that he could not think of any other than perhaps going to Milwaukee or Chicago. What? That doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Also, I'm on page 55 now. We have the delivery of the compact laptop computer to Grand Chute. Why do we not hear about what's on that computer? There should have been a lot of information on that computer. Does Zellner have that computer? Is that computer still in evidence? There's a lot of information on a person's personal computer. This is a laptop. It's portable. It's going to have a lot more information that's private because it's mobile and you can take it to private sources like in your room and so forth. So that's a great question. I would love to know what is on Teresa Halbach's computer, her laptop especially. So I am on page 56, and this is on the transmittal of the facsimile from Teresa Halbach's home fax machine. And what I find really interesting is this fax, they've got this number down on the 920435137, did send the fax to Auto Trader on 10/31. All right, I went and pulled it out, and I want us to look at something. This has bothered me for a long time. So over by the green box on the right, it says photographer detailed appointment for 10/29/05 to 10/29/05. See, that's important, but what's most important is it's page 2 of 3. Where are the other 2 sheets? See, where's the cover sheet? Or, it counts up how many sheets are going. So where are the other 2 sheets? What were on them? And yeah, this comes at 13 minutes into the day. So this is 13 minutes into the day before she does any jobs. You can see this is Sipple, rescheduled for Monday. And we've talked about this in this case. Whoops, what did I do? Let's go back. So that was what I wanted to point out on that, is that we're missing some pages for this fax, and there's no doubt about that. Okay, page 58, and we get into the Pam finding the RAV. This is a big one. Big problems with this is that this testimony here, or report, I shouldn't say testimony because it's not. It's a report that somebody else has written. Doesn't match Pamela Sturm's pretrial information, and her pretrial information that she testified on that does not match her trial. Not one time does any of this information come together. But more importantly is that Pamela Sturm, who is a relative of Teresa's, and so is Sheriff Pogel. They are both cousins together, plus they are both related to Teresa through marriage. It's interesting that we have a problem with her finding the VIN number, but she's a private investigator. She even refers to it as her line of work, I believe, something like that. If she's a private investigator, that VIN number is not sitting where it should be because she's having trouble finding it. And if you listen to what she's saying in that detailed part, is she couldn't find the VIN exactly right. The other thing she goes on about is the color of the vehicle has bothering her. It's bothering her that this one is blue-green. She keeps saying that, so she's not expecting it to be green. Now, if anybody knows what color your vehicle is, like no questions asked, it's your mother. And what did Karen Habach list that car as? Green. Dark green. Not just kind of green, well, a bluish green. No, dark green. And these are for her missing posters. So her missing posters are going to be having everybody looking for a specific vehicle. There was no damage noted on the missing person poster, and there was no mystic blue or mystic teal or any of that. It was listed as dark green. And just for the record, I think it's interesting how this is worded. It says DCI Special Agent James Fassbender arrived on scene. And that concludes our daily MaM reading for this day. And I hope that concludes part 6. And I hope you'll join us for tomorrow, where we'll go through part 7. And if you are inclined to follow us on Twitter, here's our information, and we welcome you to do so. We enjoy being able to talk to you. And if you would like to join us on Discord for Puddle Chat, you can go to the description below the video, and it will have those links in there. So I want to say thank you for watching very much and participating and sharing and caring. And I made this up a little bit. It's kind of really cheesy, but I just thought it was kind of funny because somebody sent me the picture. So we are here to go through all your reports, files, documents, photographs, eyewitness statements, and any other case-related info, prosecutor. But you are all just cute little ducks. Ducks, stop stalling. Okay, you guys. Well, with that, I want to again thank you very much, and it's time. If you didn't do the crime, you shouldn't do the time. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.